This is our current Calliope Collective portfolio as it stands today. So we have 29 hotels that we're representing. And as you can see, it's a pretty good cross section. And we want to become your go-to for independently owned, really unique hotels that you know exactly where you are. Calliope started in January of 2022 and have quickly just grown, and it's kind of organically become this portfolio that just makes sense to a lot of advisors. So we hope to become a go-to resource for you. I always say we're your easy button. You can start with us for any of these properties instead of going on to, virtuoso.com or whatever your intranet may be, and emailing 10 people and hoping that someone gets back to you in a timely manner. We can just be your easy button and immediately connect you to the right person on property. I'm getting messages that my internet is lagging, so I'm hopeful that it's okay on your side. Please put in the chat if you see if it's not. So just quickly on overall, I'm Natalie Smith. I just got married last July, so it's still hard for me to say sometimes. Natalie Payne Smith, and I'm the Vice President of Sales for Calliope Collective. And today we're going to be talking about the Corcovado Wilderness Lodge in Costa Rica. And unfortunately, we had a little bit of a last minute time zone issue. So fortunately, I've been to the property. I'm very familiar with the properties. So I'm going to be presenting with you today, but you just don't get the wonderful Costa Rican accent as if Poet or Anna were on here. So, but to start with the overall portfolio, just to quickly touch on Italy, we have some incredible properties in Italy. What you're going to find with a lot of our properties is that they're 5-star service or really high 4-star, service accommodation, but 4-star pricing and value, because we're not Four Seasons. We're not, these bigger brands that can maybe warrant the top rates. So your clients are getting a really authentic experience for an amazing value. So that's what you'll find with a lot of our properties. Our Maris in Sorrento has certainly been a huge example of that. It's contemporary. It's 1 block from Tasso Square. It's only 2 years old, 49 rooms, and people are really loving it just for something different on the Amalfi Coast at a starting rate of $800, $850 instead of, $2,000, $3,000. Casa de Longa up in Piemonte, beautiful little 39-room property in the midst of truffle hunting and wine. And then we have the new ones, Palazzino Grazi in Venice, which is only 25 rooms, and its sister property, Rosa Petra, in Cortina, which are awesome to pair and then go up to Interalpen in Austria, which is one of our new hotels in Tyrol. So also, as our portfolio is growing, we're trying to help it make sense for you all and create itineraries. So Ireland, for example, we have the perfect itinerary if it's someone's first trip to Ireland. The K Club, the Europe in Killarney, and Dromoland Castle. Everyone wants to stay in a castle. So I won't go through all of them, but we'll send you a follow-up after this so you have the full list. I encourage you to visit our website. It's been refreshed, and we're still working on it every day to add advisor tools, recorded webinars, itineraries, fact sheets, things that are going to make it easier. It now has a booking tool and a promo tool. So I'll be sending out an e-blast today on all of our updated summer promos. So be sure to look for that. Just to help you, see if I can move it forward here. There we go. To help Calliope stick in your brain a little bit more, if you're not so familiar with Calliope, the Greeks would say Calliope, but it literally means beautiful voice. And she was one of the muses in Greek mythology, Calliope, over the finer things in life and epic storytelling and eloquence. So that's what we're trying to offer to our clients. And then the Calliope hummingbird, which is in our logo, has really become so popular. And we're starting to play on that with the Hum newsletter and our little birdie tips. So you'll see those in kind of our upcoming marketing. But it's one of the smallest birds in the world that flies thousands of miles to migrate, most of the time alone. So again, with independent properties, we're having to work so much harder to stay in front of you all. So that's why these educationals are so important for us. So thank you for being here. And without further ado, we'll get started with Corcovado Wilderness Lodge. So if you've been booking Costa Rica, you may have remembered this property from I would say 4 or 5 years back, and it was called Casa Corcovado. It was a 3-star kind of very basic property. So SCP, which is Seoul Community Planet Hotels, they have around 10 or 11 hotels, has come in and they've put a lot of money in to make this more of a luxury adventure opportunity and resort. So now the name is Corcovado Wilderness Lodge by SCP Hotels. And we always like to say that Corcovado is not near the park, it's in the park. So that's what's going to make this a very unique destination and different destination for your clients. Corcovado National Park has been getting so much press by Nat Geo, lots of different organizations and newsletters and things, but specifically Nat Geo recently. So we've seen a big influx of interest. And think safari. You're going here for a luxury safari to feel remote. We have 3 miles of beach here. There's only 60 people, that could be on the property if the 30 rooms were maxed out. Maybe a few kids in and out of there. So just to show you on the map, we've left off the entire northern part of Costa Rica because most of you are already familiar with that. You're familiar with Papagayo. People always ask us, what are advisors or what are guests pairing it with? So certainly Hacienda Altagracia, I know, has been very popular recently. It's about a 2.5-hour drive from here. You could also pair it with La Fortuna. You could pair it with Papagayo. You could pair it with Monteverde. So really, we're just looking from kind of San Jose down here in the area that we are. So there's 2 ways to get there. You can go from San Jose down to Drake Bay Airport here, and that's going to be about a 45-minute Sansa flight. And we suggest that you don't take that flight after about 2 p.m. because they're a little bit notorious for being delayed some, and you don't want to arrive to this property at night because once you get to Drake Bay, your guide will greet you there. It's the guide that you're probably going to see most of your stay, and they will get you into a taxi. It's about a 20-30-minute ride to the water, and then you have a beautiful 30 to 40-minute boat ride to the property. It sounds like a lot of steps, but it's an adventure. It's something that you would pay $500 for, a person for a half-day adventure like this. And the boat tour is included in your arrival price. The other way, if you're already in Costa Rica in this area, you can go to Sierpe, which is here, and you can take a 90-minute boat ride, again with your guide, through the mangrove forest. So you're seeing incredible birds and snakes and crocodiles and all of the wildlife. Then you come out into the ocean and you come to the Osa Peninsula down here. So we're about as far south in Costa Rica on the Pacific side as you can go. What I love about this area is it's where the whales meet. So the northern and southern hemisphere whales migrate here. So you see whales almost year round. When I was there in January, I saw 6 to 7 whales, very playful, lots of tail action. They've actually determined that they speak different languages from the northern and southern hemisphere. If you have adventurous clients, they can swim with the whales. They have a whole program and a laboratory on property where your clients can become citizen scientists. So they can learn about the different languages of the whales. They can help with reef restoration, with coral restoration, turtle fertility programs. So it's really wonderful for all ages, but especially those that are really, really into wildlife and nature and, again, want to be kind of that citizen scientist. They work with several GSOs. In Oceania is a big one that they're doing several events and retreats this year with. So just looking a little bit more at the property, it's comprised of 30 units. So you have 20 rainforest villas that are back in this area. And then you have 10 oceanfront tree houses that are brand new. And the rainforest villas were the original, and they've been renovated. They all have air conditioning. They have amazing water pressure. I took like 3 showers a day when I was here. And then you have these 10 beautiful new oceanfront tree houses that we'll talk about. And then this really helps you see that we are in the park. So if you look to the south, you have 105,000 acres of Corcovado National Park. And then on the top, you have another forest reserve that's about 345,000 acres. This is a piece of land. It's considered a blue zone. It dates back to Pangea. So it's never been forested. It's never been used for agriculture. So when you talk about one of the most biodiverse places in the entire world that's super important for our planet's survival, this is one of them. Really, really unique in that matter. So there's a lot of activities via land that you can do. You can see one of these ancient trees here that are massive. Like I could stand in one of those tiny little folds on the bottom. We're talking sometimes bigger than the redwoods. Lots of hiking. So because we sit in the Corcovado Park, we have different trailheads that you can take on your own or guided hikes. Our guests get access to the park. We have all of the permitting. Other people that want to come to the park have to come by boat as well, but we can just walk out of our accommodations now that you're there and hike as you wish. So every morning they do a complimentary birding tour. Some of our guides know up to 30 different bird songs. It's incredible. And they'll tweet them out and the birds will start coming, and they have these scopes that they can see the birds that you can, the guests can look. And then we have by water. So we are very, very close, only a 30-minute boat drive to Caño Island, which is the second most popular place to snorkel in Costa Rica. The first one is about 30 hours away. They still consider it Costa Rica, but it's way, 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 way off. So Caño Island, and when you go snorkeling sometimes and you're like, like it's gray, or the coral's not beautiful, or you don't see turtles. We see turtles, we see fish, we see sea cucumbers, amazing conch shells. It's really vibrant and alive here, and they only allow up to 200 people a day, and our guests get access to that. I mentioned the private beach. It's not a surfing beach. We can take you 30, 40 minutes away to a surfing beach if your guests want to surf, but it's an incredible beach for exploring. Again, hiking, there's some little caves and waterfalls off the beach, the hammocks, and it's just really, really, really beautiful. We do have a yoga pavilion right on the beach. This is new. So they're doing a good many wellness, sound baths, yoga classes. We certainly would encourage you, if you have clients, maybe you have a yoga instructor or a fitness instructor that might have a really great following, we can help you set up a wellness retreat here. They set this up for spa treatments as well if there's not classes going on. So this is a really versatile space. It also has sides that can come down if the weather is more inclement. This was one of my favorite experiences. This is their tree net experience. I am terrified of heights, and it is a 9-story up tree net on the biggest tree in the whole rainforest. It's incredible. And so again, being scared of heights, I'm like, how in the heck am I going to get up there? Because I also have no upper body strength. So they harness you in, double, triple hooked on. You're very safe. There's a machine that will hold up to, I think, 1,000 pounds. So we're all good. And you just don't look down if you're scared of heights, and it takes you all the way up. And then they get you into this tree net. And this is your reward. You can either do a beautiful breakfast, like a sunrise coffee breakfast up here at sunset. We can bring wine and snacks, but you get to stay up here for about an hour and a half. And it really does, after a while, the guides are so great at calming you down. They're teaching you how to make ropes, knots, the different for climbing and things. And then when you're ready to get down, you rappel down. And if you're too scared to do it by yourself, which I was, they will do it in tandem with you, right beside you, and guide you down. So it's an incredible experience. It does need to be booked in advance, and it's not included in kind of the all-inclusive package. So they do have a package that you can get your breakfast, lunch, dinner, your transfer, all of that included, or you can do it a la carte as well. This is that yoga pavilion that can also be used for lunches or, a private event, but so you can see the hammocks there. So now we'll get into the villas. So this is one of the 10 new treehouse villas. These are very romantic. You can see they're very remote. They have their own walkway. Takes you a little bit to just, relax, and like nothing's going to get you. There's animals all around. I mean, you're seeing monkeys, you're seeing tapirs. I saw an 8-foot boa constrictor when I was there. You're seeing toucans and red scarlet macaws. Like, the wildlife is incredible. But these feel like you're staying in a glass treehouse. It is just glass all around, very private balcony. They are closer together than it looked in that last picture. So if you yelled, or if you had people that you're going there with, then you're pretty close together. I'd say 20 to 30 feet apart. But there is privacy. So if you want to be in the tub on your balcony, great for honeymooners. So these right now only have king beds. We are perhaps considering putting one or two with two beds. But if you have families, or if you have, the wellness retreats, or this is amazing. We just had a YPO group. You want to talk about like a remote team building, incredible spot. It's really wonderful for that. These are the rainforest villas. So also surrounded by nature. Many of them have outdoor showers, very, very clean and, updated. And again, with air conditioning and wonderful water pressure. We have two pools. The one on the left is a rainforest spring-fed pool. So it tends to be more refreshing, for sure. It's, naturally colder. And then the one on the right, it's much larger than this. It's kind of more the family pool that's more in the area. The other one, you have to take steps down to get down. So it's really serene. I grabbed a glass of champagne and went down there one afternoon after we had finished our hikes. As far as dining, I was so impressed. Very authentic Costa Rican cuisine, very fresh, a lot of fish, a lot of, plantains and fruits and vegetables that they grow right on property. This property is 100% off grid as far as electricity and water. So they produce all of their own electricity and water. They do have internet via Starlink. So that has improved vastly since the first time that I was there. There were lots of moments of pause, but they do have Starlink internet. So you're fully connected, but you can really, I would suggest disconnecting. Don't bring a hairdryer, because they're off grid. You just, none of that is needed. No makeup. I just took a backpack, had my hiking boots and my swimsuit and a couple of sundresses for dinner. And that's really all you need. But this is their brand new restaurant Terra Kitchen. You can see on the left here, that's an open kitchen. They have a wood-fired grill. So they do a lot of flatbreads. They do a lot of fish wrapped in plantain, really delicious. And the view here is what's incredible. This is your view. That's Canyo Island that I was talking about in the distance. You see whales coming by as you're having dinner, all kinds of birds, really, really stunning. And then we have here more in the jungle, Los Vitrales, which is breakfast, lunch, and dinner as well. And then they have the Bosque Bar, which is really fun at night. The monkeys are hanging out while you're having cocktails, or you can have your coffee in the morning. So getting into the wildlife just a little bit more. On the left here, we don't have ATVs on property. Those are turtle tracks. So it's a big turtle nesting beach. Our guests can work with the naturalist on site. They kind of keep track of the nest and know when they're going to hatch. So your guests might get to see that. Again, there's a whole turtle fertility program that kids really love. As far as the age of children, I would say probably 8, 9, 10 would be the youngest that I would bring here. Again, with the arrival by boat, and you do have to be pretty mobile to get on and off the boat. My dad's a really bigger, heavy set man and has a little bit of trouble walking. So, it would be difficult for him because there's not a dock. You do have to get your feet wet, get off the boat, and walk a little ways to get onto the shore when you get on property, which is cool. It's part of the adventure. They greet you with a cacao drink and a cold towel. Really nice. But this is a toucan, so many, many different species of birds. We get a lot of bird watchers, a lot of photographers. This is a tapir. It's considered one of the big five if you're thinking of it as like a safari, a Costa Rican safari. But we see them very often on property. There's a family of tapirs that live on property. There's actually also a family of pumas that live on property. But you have to think, because the ecosystem is so balanced here, people always ask me, how are the bugs? Are you scared of the puma? No, like it's just so well balanced that the bugs really aren't an issue. I mean, of course, there are mosquitoes and some, and we have sustainable spray for that. But the pumas, there's been some recent articles about this symbiotic relationship, and that there are humans and pumas around Corcovado are together. They're living together. The monkeys, you can see the coatis, which is kind of like a raccoon there at the bottom left. They're all over the property. And the scarlet macaws are also everywhere. It's just really, really stunning. So they do have medical assistance on site and a doctor on site. The doctor also is really involved with the local community. Sometimes they'll bring in the indigenous people to do mask making classes or cacao making classes. So depending on what's going on, they have a new fully equipped gym. They have a fully certified dive center. So if you have people that, really love to scuba dive, also incredible fishing. Fishing is a big market where you can make a lot of money. And because the continental shelf right off the ocean drops very quickly off the shore here, you can catch huge fish from very close by, sometimes off the shore, or not having to go too deep sea fishing. So that's been really incredible. And I mentioned earlier just the citizen science piece of it. They've added this summer kind of like a camp. So there's a lot of additional complimentary activities this summer. If you're interested for children, I can help you connect you with that as well, and pricing. But that's kind of mainly what I wanted to show you today. And I don't see any questions here. I'm going to see if I can quickly unmute. This is also a new system that we're using, so it's not looking like I can unmute it easily. But if you have any questions, please put them into the chat for me. And I hope this has kind of piqued your interest. I always get the question, how do you want us to book? I know with Costa Rica, a lot of you might use DMCs. So we've worked really hard to get them into all of the DMCs that you might use. Namu, Journey, Memorable, Costa Rican Trail, Way to Go. So we're probably in all of the DMCs that you might already be using. We just need you to ask for it. We really, really need the advisors to start helping us ask for this property to be put into the itinerary. But it's such a special place. And, your clients, especially if they've done Costa Rica and they've fallen in love with Costa Rica, they've probably done the Papagayo, they've done, La Fortuna. So please, please encourage them. It's still kind of unknown. I always say it's kind of like the Piemonte region in Italy. It's just, it's not Costa Rica 101. It might be your second or third time to Costa Rica, but it's so well worth it. And it's such an adventure. And as far as the Sansa flights, thank you, Nadia. I'm going to address that in just a second. I appreciate you bringing that up. The Sansa flights are really reasonable. So from San Jose down to Drake Bay, you're looking at like 140, 150, 160. And then if you wanted to charter, like if you had a little bit bigger group or family to charter a flight, it's not very much more. I mean, really maybe up to 200, 250 per person. So we can definitely help you with that. The concierge team now is really good and has a great relationship with Sansa and can help you with that. So Nadia said, the lodge is amazing. You've tried quoted it, but the rates are really confusing. Online, just the base and don't show the package. Yes. So we hear you. And that's definitely part of the reason why I think we've had a little bit of a hard time getting it really going. We have a new commercial director, a new director of sales, and she really gets it. She understands that this has been an issue for sure, that it's confusing. And we are saying that the all-inclusive pricing makes the most sense, right? Because when you're there, I mean, you're there. It's not like you can take an Uber to go anywhere else to eat. You have to eat on property. We suggest at least 3 nights, typically 4 to 5 nights is more what we're seeing. But thank you for bringing that up. And please know that it is very, very actively being changed, and that it has been changed. And I think you'll find if you tried to book it now that it would be a much better experience. And then just with Calliope in general, if you have questions on any of our hotels, again, just always start with us. Or if you're using a DMC, like say in Italy or Budapest or Asia, we have some beautiful hotels now in Japan and Bangkok or Ireland, just loop us in. We track every single lead from you all. We're about to start our Agent of the Month program and kind of have extra perks, first opportunities for fans and things like that for advisors that really support us. So we track every single lead that you guys send through. So please always loop us in. You're not bothering us if you don't start with us. If you start with us, then obviously we will immediately connect you. So I just really appreciate you guys again. I want to keep it fairly concise and short. And I apologize that Poet or Anna could not be on the call, but hopefully I did them justice and piqued your interest. And we just really look forward to welcoming your guests. We'll send this out as a recording as well at the end. And I'm happy to stay on. Again, I don't see any other chats, but I'm happy to stay on for a minute or two. If you guys, I just can't seem to figure out how to unmute your mics. So would love to see if I could see all your faces. But yeah, oh well. Other than that, I really appreciate y'all. And if you're going to be at Virtuoso Travel Week or at ILTM North America or at ILTM Con, please let us know, and we'll invite you to our events there. We have some great events and great hotels that will be there as well. So really appreciate your business. I can't thank you enough. And thank you for coming on today to learn about Corcovado. I hope y'all have a great week. Thank you.